Hi there, welcome or welcome back to Snacks and Stacks. I like to talk about books, TV shows, and movies. And today we are treading lightly-ish back into long-form content with a 2-month wrap-up. So we're wrapping up what I read and watched in February and in March. If you're new around here, or if you haven't seen my January wrap-up, I'm actually just going to give you some stats and then pretty much just share my top 3 books. It could be, a book I didn't like severely, and then books I did like. It could be all 3 are great books. And then we go over my TV shows. So let's do our quick stats. In February, I read 6 books, 1 manga, and I gave 3 4.5 stars, 3 4 stars, and 1 2-star. And then in March, a huge spike in reading for March. I read a total of 14 books, 2 were manga, and 12 novels. I finally got 2 5-star books, 1 manga and 1 novel, 2 4.5 stars, 7 4 stars, 1 3.5 star, and 1 3-star. And in February and March, I DNF'd 3 books. 2 were book club books, which I think I just couldn't get into. One is Jane Austen's Persuasion, and I read so much of it, I feel like. How much did I read? I was reading it for nearly a full month, and I only got halfway. And I decided to watch the movie instead. I just don't think Jane Austen's writing style is for me. I've tried reading Pride and Prejudice, and I was listening to it. I couldn't quite get into it in audio, and so I started reading it, and then I was like, oh no, this is just repetitive, because I was rereading it from the start. And I feel like Pride and Prejudice was fine, but I still didn't have the inclination to finish it. And then Persuasion was just, I couldn't get into it. So that was one of them. Another book club book was The Latecomer by Jean Hanff Korelitz. This was an audiobook, and I just didn't care to finish it. I didn't like anyone, and not only did I not like anyone, I didn't like the plot. I didn't like what was going on. I didn't care about it, and so I also put that one down. And the other one I put down is probably going to get some people a little upset, but it was The Women by Kristen Hanna. I have read 2 Kristen Hanna books, and I've liked them both. I think she does a really good job of making you feel for characters, and then, of course, making you really, sad. And the Women was a little bit harder for me to just go with because of a few factors. One, my parents are from Vietnam, and they are refugees from the Vietnam War. And so some of the descriptions of Vietnam, a place that I have been to, where it was just so you can just feel the distaste the author has for Vietnam. And I get it. It's not the most beautiful place, especially during wartime. And I get that it's wartime, and I got all those things, but I just couldn't help but feel that she really had a distaste for a country that my father absolutely loved. And I know when he was alive, he talked about potentially retiring there. The reason why we went back a lot is because his family's there. And so for me, it just rubbed me the wrong way, the way she described the country. And as much as I really enjoy stories of women overcoming the odds and women being strong figures, especially in history, I felt like I did not like our main character very much. She had this knack for going for married or taken men, and I can't. I just couldn't. Sweetie, there's so many fish in the sea. I don't understand. So for those purposes and reasonings, I couldn't get into the story. I was halfway in and some things happened. I predicted it. I went to spoil myself because, like, I have a TBR on Goodreads that's over 1,000 books. I have over 100 books at home that I need to read. I don't have time to like sit around and hope that this will get better. I don't mind spoilers, especially if it's like me having this feeling that it's gonna be something I don't like. And I didn't like the progression of the story. So those are my DNFs and reasonings for February through March. For my top 3 reads, I want to focus more on the books that maybe people haven't heard of. So even though Project Hail Mary had a 4.5 star, I am not going to talk about it. I think a lot of people already know the type of book it is, what it's about, the movie's been out. So yeah, I'm gonna skip that one. Another 4.5 star book I had would be The Escape Game by Marissa Meyer and Tamara Moss. And this is a YA new release. It is a mystery thriller. I wouldn't say it's too much of a thriller, but it is a mystery, and it's based on puzzles and puzzle games that you would see in an escape room. So we have a competition. It's like a reality TV show competition about escape rooms, and the contestants are all teenagers. We have a new season. I think this is like season 5, and season 4 there was a murder. And so we kind of follow these characters as they're not only trying to solve puzzles within the room, but solve a murder. And so it is so much fun. I had an arc when I went to Y'all Fest. I immediately read it like in the beginning before my pre-order came in, just because I really, really wanted to read it. And I think I like YA thrillers and mysteries more than adults, because adult thrillers and mysteries always seems to have like adultery and like domestic violence, which I don't like. But like with YA, you find less of that. There is a trigger in this book that I found yucky, but it wasn't bad, right? It's just like, oh, I hate men. But the very cool thing about getting the actual copy, one, of course, are the edges. If you're not a fan of edges, I'm sorry. The naked hardback has foiling, as well as these end pages with little locks and keys. And my most excited thing are the room maps. You just didn't get to see them in the ARC. So I was so excited to get to see what the rooms look like. And also just very excited because in the ARC, I just like wrote in it and did whatever, but I will be keeping this copy more pristine. I yelled because I folded my flap here a little bit, but that's okay. And let's see. Do I want to talk about my 5-star read, or do we want to go talk about my 2-star read? I'm hesitant to talk about my 2-star book because it is a newer release, and I obviously want the author to do well and I want the book to do well. However, I do want to share honest opinions about the books I read, and hopefully maybe if I can talk about it in the most gracious way, then the people that this book will work for, you will be excited for it. And then the people who I think this book might disappoint, you can then find a different book. Ravenna is the eldest daughter, dependable in helping her families in while still keeping her sculpting hobby on the side. In order to help her younger brother, she enters a sculpting competition and when she wins, the mysterious family that's holding this competition kidnaps her for a special project. Now, Ravenna has these magical powers that deals with a certain type of stone, and in this world there is magical powers that is quite varied, but there is like a whole page on each stone and what it can do. Now, not everybody has these magical powers, and typically they are hidden from other people, and the way she enters this competition kind of showcased that she has the ability to do something that people normally shouldn't be able to do. So I think the people that would really enjoy this book is going to be someone who loves just going with whatever the author gives you, right? Like, I am a little bit too critical of a person to just let an author take me places sometimes, and that is my own fault. So the pacing of this book definitely requires the reader to just be invested in a relationship that does not show a lot of depth. If you are interested and just love romance and love and like love at first sight, and people that are kind of, they hate each other on the surface, but on the inside they think the other person's like really hot, then I think this would work for you. I'm not being like sassy when I'm saying this. I'm just saying what I feel. I feel like it's coming out a little bit sassy, but I promise I'm not judging you if that's the type of book that you want to read. So yes, the pacing was weird. In the beginning, it is a little slow, as a lot of fantasy books can be, because you're just being introduced to the world and what's happening, and what's going on. But the world itself feels very indecisive. So that's why I'm saying you as a reader just has to accept what the author is writing on the page. Similar to Isabel Ibanez's other duology, she likes to put you on a journey. Like, she likes to put you through twists and turns. And there were things in this book that I did not guess, which I do enjoy. Some of them I was able to guess, but some of them were big mysteries, and I liked being surprised. If you think any of that works for you, I would highly recommend this book. Unfortunately, I was reading this book with a friend, and I really hope I didn't like sway her in the negative way, and so I'm trying to be better as a buddy reader to not be hypercritical. But yeah, I was very disappointed in this book. It was highly anticipated for me. I love standalone fantasies with strong female characters, and I didn't love this one. And now I have to talk about my favorite book of these 2 months, and honestly, I think it's going to be hard to top, because every book I read, I'm like, it is not like Homeseeking by Carissa Chen. Homeseeking is a book that spans 60 years, and we follow two childhood sweethearts who go through a lot of changes in China. They live through the Chinese Civil War, a famine, and eventually immigrating to the United States. The story structure is alternating point of views, with Suchi, our main female character, going forward in time, and then Howard's going backwards in time. For anyone who finds a structure like that somewhat confusing, I just want to say that this author does it so well. She does it in a way that has the events kind of like overlapping. I read it as an audiobook, and I loved reading it as an audiobook because I got to hear all the different dialects of Chinese being spoken, and I also love it because it helps me put together who was who. There is an author's note in the beginning where she talks about how, you know, everyone's names are slightly different in different dialects and different languages, and so, you know, to kind of just try your best to go through this book, because even with its hardships, like to kind of remember and imagine how hard it is for immigrants to then adopt a whole new language. And we're just asking you to do this for the book. So even just from that author's note, I was like, yes, I love where this is going. I think anyone who would rate this book lower than 4 stars is just plain wrong. I think it's so well written, first of all. Second of all, the characters are written with such care and heart. The situations is something in history that you can learn about. Like, I've never learned about it. Even though I took Asian history, I don't quite remember this section at all. Anyone who vaguely hears about the news about China and Taiwan and Hong Kong, you know, this kind of goes into that. It kind of like takes you into a place where I think as an American, we don't get to go and we don't understand very much of. There is so much that happens in this whole world, and so much of it has nothing to do with us as Americans. And I think it does us a disservice as people, as humans, to not learn about other human beings' histories. And so this book was such a beautiful vehicle for not only education, like a historical education, but also like a theme of immigrants, of family, and just giving you a sense of how a person thinks in this culture. I don't have the right words to just fully explain how unbelievable I think this book is. This book is just incredible. And as you can see from my criticisms of the last book, I don't do that very much. This book was able to take all the things that I normally don't like, alternating point of views in different time periods. There's actions taken by the main characters that I normally do not agree with. And there are parts in the book where it's traumatic and it's sad, and it's not, our characters are not always happy. So like all these things that I normally have problems with, Carissa Chen does it so well that I'm like, this is how it should be handled. Yeah, I found this book absolutely perfect. Masterclass. I don't know how she did it, but I will read anything else that she writes. So I absolutely recommend Homeseeking. Yeah, I'm just talking about how much I love it. I don't feel like I don't want to say too much, because then you won't get to experience it yourself. This book has a lot to do with these 2 people and how they grow apart and back together. It has a theme of not only family, but themselves as people. We follow Howard, who is a violinist, and then he joins the military. And we have Suchi, who she kind of does a lot of odd jobs. She becomes a waitress. She's kind of like, her dad was the owner of a bookstore, and he's kind of training her to take over. So we have a couple of things like that I think I can share. I hope people will read it and come back and talk to me about it. Okay, so those are my top 3 reads. We're gonna go through TV and movies quite quickly. TV shows that I completed Yuri on Ice. It was my first time watching it. The Olympics was happening, and I wanted to watch something about ice skating, and realized I never watched this anime, and I think it's great. It was a lot of fun. I watched it in like one whole night. It was really good. I watched Bridgerton season 4 with my sister-in-law. It's kind of like our little tradition. We try to watch Bridgerton together now, and I liked it a lot. I'm a sucker for a Cinderella story, so I really liked it. I loved our main couple. I loved actually, you know what stole the storyline was the friendship between the queen and her old, I'll put them here so you know who I'm talking about. I loved their scenes. I was crying. I was crying. I also watched season 1 of The Law According to Lydia Poet. I don't know, I just kept seeing previews of it and I was in like a historical mood. This is about the first Italian, or I don't know if she was the first, but she was a notable Italian lawyer back in the day. She wasn't supposed to be practicing, and this is kind of like a fictional telling of it. I think the person acting for Lydia Poet, I think she's beautiful. So I loved watching her on screen. I loved the outfits. I loved the way they tried to solve all of their cases. So that was a lot of fun. And then I watched May I Ask for One Final Thing. This is an anime. It is very silly. It's about a girl who can like fight real good, and she's of nobility. And I actually can't really tell you much more than that. I was watching it in the background, and I just remembered like she was just pummeling people. She has some magic powers as well. Yeah, there's a little bit subplot of a romance. It's fun. We were also re-watching Free Run when my brother-in-law was visiting with us. We didn't finish season 1, so I can't get to season 2 yet, but I want to continue that. We rewatched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, a couple seasons of that. It's my comfort show. I like to just put it on in the background. And then I'm also halfway through You and I Are Polar Opposites. This is another anime. It's a kind of high school romance. I like it because the relationship is moving forward. It's you know, people are talking to each other. It's not like miscommunication for a whole season. And so far it's very cute. There's a lot of cute graphics that I really enjoy in that one. So those are kind of all the TV shows that I have watched, which feels like a lot because in February I really did not read too much. And then movies, we watched How to Train Your Dragon, the live action one. I thought it was fine. For the beginning, it almost felt like a drama, like a play. Like it didn't feel like super great acting. It felt like I was watching a school play, but then it got better. And I think Toothless looks great. He's my favorite character, so who cares about the rest? But after watching the live action, I had to watch the animated version because that one just is perfect. I love the voice acting in that one too, and so that really worked for me. Rewatched Crazy Stupid Love. It's been a long time. I kept seeing the one clip online and my husband was like, oh, I wouldn't mind watching it. So anytime my husband won't mind watching a romance, I will just put it on. And so yeah, we watched that. It was great. It's been a long time. I forgot half the things that happened in it, so I thought that was fun. I watched the movie Persuasion in preparation for my book club. I watched the one with Dakota Johnson. I think it's the Netflix special one. I thought it was good enough. I liked it. It was very modernized. She spoke to the camera, broke the fourth wall, and I thought that was fun. My work friend said her favorite movie of all time was Good Will Hunting. My husband also said it was good, but he hadn't seen it in a long time, and I've never seen it. So I got it from the library and watched it, and I think it was very good. It was a good story. We also watched a terrible movie, Jurassic Park Dominion. That was so bad. Like my brother-in-law was just like, why do they keep trying to reference and like put in Easter eggs from the old movies that aren't even good? Like, it was bad. It was so bad. It was not good. We finished it somehow, mostly just making fun of it. But like we watched a lot of like bad action movies, but that was just, but it would be entertaining. But like Jurassic Park Dominion, I was just, I don't know. I did not like it. We went to IMAX, watched Project Hail Mary in theaters, which is impossible to get my husband to even want to go. So I was very surprised he wanted to go with us. And we all loved it. It was great. The adaptation is so good. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. I splurged for IMAX, which I normally never do. But so much of it was so great. And I think it's a good adaptation. It obviously misses the kind of more sci-fi parts of it, but from some of the things or clips I've seen of Andy Weir talking about his writing and his books, I don't know if he realizes how deep his books get. Like, he says that all of his stuff is mostly for entertainment, and I'm like, dude, you're talking about the extent of which, like, what people should do to save humanity. You're not even thinking that that is a theme in your books? Like, I don't know. Are are we reading the same thing? Because you're telling me you made this powerful character and you made her this character who was able to cross all types of lines, but you didn't realize that she was a woman? Like, sometimes I felt like his comment is a little bit of like a privileged white guy talking, not realizing that he was being an ally. I don't know. Like I'm like, good, you're using your privilege to like open people's eyes. And he's like, no, I'm just writing bro literature and making it fun. And I'm like, oh, okay. My brother-in-law put it best. He said that the movie felt like they just made like a buddy comedy, which was great. It was a good adaptation. That is obviously a part of the book. It's a big part of the book, their friendship. But for me and for my brother-in-law, we felt like some of the science was missing. I actually did not love all the science in the book. That's what kind of nicked it down. I thought some of the science, especially near the end, I was just like, please let me I just need to know. But he is a science person, so he loves it. So he was a little bit sad to not be able to see all of the science. I was sad to not see all the science explained visually, as I was really hoping that it would show some of that so I could better understand it. But yes. So kind of rushed through at the end there, but technically I have things I need to do today. Share what you have read, what you've loved, what you didn't love, what you've watched, what you loved, what you didn't love, and happy snacking, happy binging, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!